Hi, I'm Dave Karger. Welcome back to TCM as we wind down our Saturday afternoon with a landmark coming-of-age movie directed and co-written by George Lucas. From 1973, it's American Graffiti. This is a nostalgic portrait of what it was like to be a teenager in a small California town in 1962, and it was based on Lucas's own real-life experiences coming of age in the early 60s in his hometown of Modesto, California. George Lucas had made only one feature film before American Graffiti, the 1971 dystopian sci-fi film THX 1138. That debut had been produced and made possible by Lucas's mentor, Francis Ford Coppola. While he was studying film at the University of Southern California, Lucas had won a scholarship to work with Coppola at Warner Brothers. Coppola also believed in American Graffiti and signed on to produce this film as well, but he had a hard time selling it to a distributor. Every major studio turned it down before Universal finally and hesitantly agreed to release it after spending 6 months thinking about whether it had any commercial value. The movie doesn't follow a conventional plot. Instead, it weaves together fragmented vignettes about 4 different high school seniors. George Lucas made the film in 28 days on a budget of $700,000. And when it hit theaters in 1973, it grossed more than $55 million. It became the sleeper hit of the year and also spawned numerous imitations, including the hit TV series Happy Days. It also turned out to be a launching pad for some of the most promising up-and-coming talent in Hollywood in the early 70s. That list includes cast members Richard Dreyfuss, Harrison Ford, Ron Howard, Cindy Williams, Paul Le Mat, Candy Clark, Charles Martin Smith, and Suzanne Summers. As for George Lucas, the success of this film allowed him to focus on making his dream project, a film that the New York Times described in 1973 as an adventure in outer space. 4 years later, that would, of course, be called Star Wars. From 1973, here is American Graffiti. American Graffiti was a runaway hit in 1973, and it earned 5 Academy Award nominations, including for Best Picture, for Candy Clark as Best Supporting Actress, and 2 nominations for George Lucas as director and co-writer. In interviews at the time, Lucas was open about the fact that American Graffiti was closely based on his own teenage years in Modesto, California. "It all happened to me," he said, "but I sort of glamorized it. I spent 4 years of my life cruising the main street of my hometown. I started out as Terry the Toad, but then I went on to be John Milner, the local drag race champion, and then I became Kurt Henderson, the intellectual who goes to college." Lucas said they were all composite characters based on his life and the lives of some of his friends. Up next, I'm turning it over to Alicia Malone for another installment in her ongoing series, Follow the Thread, beginning with a drama from 2017, written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson and featuring Oscar-nominated performances from Daniel Day-Lewis and Leslie Manville.